Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So this channel, Everyday Data Science, is all about learning the different concepts involved in data science by practicing a lot of questions. In this video, I am going to solve this question on LeetCode regarding students and examination and try to walk you through how we can develop solutions to such problems. This question has been asked in Roblox interview in the past couple of years. Okay, so let's jump right in. We are given a table called students with two different columns, student ID and the student name, where student ID is the primary key. Each row of this table contains the ID and the name of one student in the school. Okay. We are also given another table called subjects, which has only one column called subject name, which is also the primary key for this table. Each row of this table contains the name of one subject in the school. Okay. Finally, we are given a third table called examinations, which has two columns, student ID and the subject name. And there is no primary key. So obviously it can contain duplicates. Each student from the students table takes every course from the subjects table. So basically every student from this table takes all the courses that are mentioned in the subject table, right? And each row of this particular table, so examination table, indicates that a student with ID, student ID, attended the exam of a subject name. So basically in this, it says which student attended what exam. Okay. We are required to write a SQL query to find the number of times each student attended each examination. Okay. Return the result table ordered by student ID and subject name. Okay, so since a lot of information has been given here, let's go through this example, right? So here we are given four different students with different student IDs and their names being Alice, Bob, John and Alex. And these are the three subjects that are in the subject table: math, physics and programming. Also, this examination table, what it means is basically student ID 1. So student ID 1 was Alice, attended the math examination. Alice attended the physics examination, programming examination. Alice again attended the math examination. Alice again for the third time attended the math examination. So what we are required to return is basically the student ID, the subject, the student ID, your name, the subject, and how many times particular student attended that examination. So Alice attended math thrice. If a person is not attending the examination, then we are required to return 0 based on this example, right? So let's go ahead and develop query for this. So the first thing, how to determine what to do first. Here, if you look at this statement, each student from the students table takes every course from the subjects table. So basically, it is asking for us to do a cross join, because we need to get each possible combination between students table and the subjects table, right? Because it says each student takes all the subjects that are mentioned in the subjects table. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So from students table, cross join the subjects table, right? And let's keep everything. Now you might be wondering that why have I not written on here, because you might have seen that while performing joins we need to write on. But here is the thing about cross join. Since cross join is basically taking all possible combinations of the two tables, it does not require on. So it basically what it is going to do is, for Alice, it will be having 3 rows: math, physics, programming. For Bob, math, physics, programming. John, math, physics, programming. Alex, math, physics, programming. So basically it is going to have 4 cross 3. So 12 rows. So this is why we don't require on in this. Okay. So now let's store this in a common table expression. Okay, so we write with CTE as, and we enclose our query in parentheses. Okay. Now, the second thing that we need to do here is we need to see that for each of the student in the examination table and for each of the subject, because there are different subjects, we count how many times the person or that particular student attended that, right? So if I let's say group by student ID and subject name, right? So student ID 1 and then subject name math, and if I count that, so how many times this is going to happen? 1, 2, 3. If I then go to student ID 1 and physics, so it will count 1 physics, 1 physics, so 2 physics, right? Similarly, so that is what we need to do. We need to find that for each of the student ID and subject name combination, how many times the particular student has attempted that examination. Okay, so what we can do is from examinations table, we can group by student ID and then the subject name. And since we are grouping by student ID and subject name, we can return or write those columns in the select statement. So student ID, subject name, and then the third thing that we can return is we can count the subject name as well. We can even count the student ID, does not matter, but we can count the subject name. So let's count the subject name. So for each of the student ID, it is go and the subject name combination, it is returning how many times the student has attempted that, right? So this is what is there. Now let's let's for simplicity alias this as something like count or whatever. So let's count. Okay, now we can enclose this into another common table expression. Okay, so with CTE2 as, and then enclose this entire thing in parentheses. So basically we made one table which has all the students and subjects combination, and the second table which has a student ID and subject name and how many times the student attended that examination. Okay, so let's basically see what these different tables have. So here what we will be having is a cross join, right? So let me write a couple of rows for this. So it is going to have 1 Alice and then math, 1 Alice physics, and so on, right? So similarly you understand, right? Here what we are going to have. So from examinations table, it is going to return 1 math, and then how many times it is being there? So 3. So student ID 1 physics, how many times it is there? 1 physics, 1 physics, 2, and similarly, right? Now what we need to do is basically join these two information. So 1 Alice and math, so basically Alice, whose student ID was 1, attended the math examination how many times? 3 times. Attended the physics examination how many times? 2 times, and so on, right? So what do we do to merge information? We join. So from CTE left join, since we need to create or keep rows from all the students, so we left join this on CTE2, and which is the column that we are going to join on? So it has student ID, this has student ID as well. So CTE dot student ID is equal to CTE dot student ID. But if you see, and if you just join on ID, so what is going to happen? So look at this table and this table, right? So it is going to, the cursor is going to be at 1. So okay, 1, it will find math, it will find physics, it will find whatever programming, etc., and it is going to return 3 different rows. But that is useless for us. We need to see for student ID 1, that is for Alice, in math how many times she has attended the examination. So the join should not only be on the ID column but as well as the subject as well, right? So that is why you need to left join on this student ID as well as you need to do the subject name, right? So subject name is equal to CTE2 dot subject name. So now what will happen? So it will see cursor is 1 math. So it will then find 1 math, then only it will join. So 1 physics, ignore. 1 programming, ignore. 2 physics, ignore. Things like that. So understand, we are only keeping that what we are required, and in a way excluding all the unnecessary rows that will occur if we don't put this condition on the join, right? Okay, so let's see what this is going to have, right? So from here it is going to be 1 Alice math and then 3, because 3 from here, then 1 Alice physics, and what it is going to have 2, and similarly so on, right? So now what we need to do is we need to return the student ID, student name, subject name, and the number of attended examinations, right? But if you think about this, right? So for example, Bob and physics. So Bob is student ID 2, right? So in this case, so this table is going to have Bob because it is basically the combination of all the students and all the subjects. So 2 Bob and math, 2 Bob and physics, 2 Bob and programming, right? So it is going to have that. Here what will happen is that since we are counting, right? So 2 programming, it is going to be there. 2 programming, it is going to be, how many times 2 programming is there? 1, right? Then you have 2 and math, which is again 1 here, right? Now if you think about it, when you are joining this on this, so here it will find, okay, 2 math, it has 2 math, so 1 will return. So here we will be having 2 Bob math 1, right? 2 Bob physics, right? So 2 and physics, it will try to see 2 and physics. So there is no 2 and physics in the CTE2, right? On this second table. So what will it have? 2 Bob physics null, right? And for 2 Bob programming or 2 and programming, it is going to have 1. So 2 Bob programming 1. But the thing is, in the output, what is 2 Bob and physics? It is returning 0. So wherever there is null, you need to replace it by 0. Otherwise, you just return the thing that you are getting, right? Number of attending. So this is where we need to include the case when statements, right? So once you join this, what do you need to do? You need to return what? Student ID, student name, subject name, and then attended examinations. So select CTE dot student ID. So student ID from this table, right? Then we need to return the student name. So CTE student name is in which table? Okay, so since it is in the students table, so it is going to be present in the CTE as well, because you are cross joining students on subjects. So CTE dot student name, then you are also having the subjects, right? So since we cross join students on subjects, so it is also going to have the subject name. So CTE dot subject name. And now if you have something in the count, and you remember here we have alias the subject count as count, right? So these columns are basically count. So 3 2 1 1, this is count, right? So case when count column is not null, right? So when it is not null, you just return the value that the count has stored. So then count, else what you do, if it is null, then you return 0, end the case statement. And what is the alias or the name of the row, name of the column that we need to return? Attended examinations. So attended exams. Okay, so yeah, this looks good. Let me remove all this so that we can run this query. So I hope you guys understood step by step what I was trying to do. Okay, so I removed everything. Now this looks good. Let me go ahead and run this to see if everything looks good and it is being accepted or not. Okay, so why did I get a runtime error? Now this is very important here. You see here it is showing that this line has error. Why? Again, I have mentioned this in my previous videos as well. When we are defining common table expressions, we don't need to keep including the with clause every time you define a new common table expression. All you can do is you can start with the with and just keep doing the comma, and so you comma and then CTE2 as this, CTE3 as this, that. So it will know that yeah, this is also a common table expression. So that is the reason why it was throwing us error. It is very important to know. So let's go ahead and now run it. Okay, this is again a wrong answer. Now, can you guess why? This is intentionally, so before in the previous videos, I have always, read the entire question and tried to include that in the code. But in real life, what happens is you might get wrong answer and things like that, right? So what is the difference? What might we have not done here? It's very easy to answer. Yep, if you guessed it correctly. If you remember, so the question was saying return the result table ordered by student ID and subject name, and we have not ordered it in any way, right? So that is why it is throwing us an error. So we should order by CTE dot student ID and CTE dot subject name. So you understand? So this is what happens when you are developing a big query or you have been given so many information, right? So now it will work because now we have not only corrected our common table expression thing, but also everything that is being asked has been taken care of. So this is very important. Let me go ahead and run this and see if now it gets accepted or not. Okay, so now it is accepted. Our output is same as expected output. There is no difference, right? Let me go ahead and submit it and see if it gets accepted or not. So yeah, it gets accepted and it runs very fast as well. So yeah, this is how we solve this question. And remember, even though it has huge amount of information, that is you have 3 different tables and then you need to do some stuff. We also need to order the final result, etc. But don't worry about it. Just develop the query one by one. Whatever you are getting the information, just convert that into a query, make the logical assumptions and keep only what is required, and you will be able to perform these kind of complex things very easily. It's only the logic that matters, and then all you need to do is convert that logic into a clean and correct syntax, and your problem would be solved. So I hope this video made sense and helped you in some way, and let me know in the comment section if it did. And until then, I will see you guys in the next video.